guys? Today I'm just making a video about my favorite remakes, specifically after 2000, so modern remakes only. The reason I'm doing that is because if I didn't, I would have to include The Thing, The Fly, The Blob, and this list would be very boring and predictable. So I'm just keeping it to after 2000s, basically after 2003 when the Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out, and in my opinion, remakes became a bad thing. So basically, what I look for in a remake is mostly it being a remake of something that needed a remake. I usually don't like remakes of classic movies that I don't think needed a remake. I feel like that used to be a more popular opinion, and it's kind of changed over the last few years. People are a lot more accepting of all the Platinum Dune stuff, and I just can't enjoy those movies. I've given them chances. They just feel insincere and kind of bland and generic to me in a lot of cases, especially the Platinum Dunes ones. So, yeah, what I look for in a remake is a movie that had a good premise or a good idea, and it feels like it was made with respect or sincerity or love for the original movie, kind of like they used to do in the 80s. And the first one is a good example of that, and it is Silent Night. Silent Night feels like it could have just been Silent Night Deadly Night Part 6. The franchise was kind of loose anyway, so there wasn't a lot of changes to make. They could almost do whatever they wanted as long as it involved a killer Santa Claus or at least a Christmas theme. This one has Jamie King, Ellen Wong, Donald Logue, and especially Malcolm McDowell in probably one of my favorite roles Malcolm McDowell has ever done. He's just a sheriff who is delusionally full of himself, thinks he's a superhero or something. It's hilarious. Plus, you get really great gore effects. It's a pretty brutal movie. So, yeah. Number 5 is Silent Night. Number 4 is a little more common, but I love it, and that is My Bloody Valentine 3D. Again, this was a really good 80s slasher that only had one installment. As good as it was, it's a really charming movie. It's a really fun movie. It didn't hurt that it got a remake, and it got a remake that was written by Todd Farmer and directed by Patrick Lussier. Both do great work, especially together. It's got really fun effects, really fun kills. It's got an awesome Harry Warden. I don't know who played Harry Warden in this. I feel like that guy would make a good Jason. He was very intimidating. It didn't do a whole lot in the way of originality. It was just fun, especially the 3D aspect. I know a lot of people weren't into the whole 3D thing, but I mean, it was a fun gimmick while it lasted. I was glad to see it come back. I actually watched this in 3D in the theater, and I had fun with it. So yeah, number 4, My Bloody Valentine. Number 3 is The Invisible Man. I think Lee Winnell is a great director, and I wish he would make more stuff. And this is a perfect example of what he can do. This movie is ridiculous with the tension. You kind of know what's going on. I mean, it's called The Invisible Man, but just the way they played it, you always felt him in the room, whether they hinted at him being there or not. Those long, drawn-out scenes of just scanning rooms and lingering on the background were really effective on me. Elizabeth Moss is an amazing actress, and she played this role perfectly. And yeah, it's just a really good. It's about the best they could have done with Invisible Man. I didn't think I would like the technology angle because that seems a little bit predictable, but it was done really well, and it kind of makes sense. So yeah, number 3. Invisible Man, a really great movie that didn't come out that long ago and I already don't hear much about. I hope this one doesn't eventually get lost in the shuffle because I thought it was one of the best movies that came out that year. Alright, the final 2. Number 2, this was kind of hard, but it's gotta be Evil Dead. The Evil Dead franchise is one of my favorites. I went in expecting this movie to piss me off. I went and saw it in theaters, and I loved it. This is an example of a remake, kind of like Silent Night, Deadly Night, almost just being part of the franchise if you look at it a certain way. I thought Jane Levy was an awesome final girl. I think it's a shame that she seems to have some kind of ill will towards the making of this movie, because I would have liked to see her come back. But I guess that's not going to happen. Either way, I loved how they made the tone so different, but it still felt like an Evil Dead movie, just in how over the top and insane the kills were and the blood splatter. I didn't have any problems with this movie. This was almost an instant classic for me. It's like a 9 out of 10. I don't have any of the problems most people do who don't like this movie with the movie, if that makes sense. And it's kind of crazy because as much as I love the Evil Dead franchise, there was a very high likelihood that I would end up hating this movie for some reason, something they did that offended me as a fan, but yet I don't feel that way. I love this movie. So, number 2, which was really hard because in any other scenario, it would probably end up being my favorite. And for them to make a remake that doesn't offend me is kind of unprecedented. But there is one more movie that I feel like is going to stay my favorite modern remake of all time, and that is Maniac. This is kind of a crappy copy. It looks like a bootleg, but I swear it's not. It was from my family video before they shut down. I bought it from there. I don't know if you can see the family video sticker. I actually need to upgrade it to Blu-ray because I love it so much. I just haven't yet. But this movie blew me away. I went into it with almost no expectations. And Maniac, the original, it's a good movie. It's not my favorite. It's not something I can watch a lot, but it is good, and that kind of makes for the perfect candidate for a remake, in my opinion. Something that had a really solid foundation, and somebody who liked it comes along and remakes it. In this case, it was Alexander Aja. His movies are a little hit and miss with me, but he did a great job with this one. Elijah Wood killed it in this movie. He's usually good in movies, because I think he picks movies that he really has a thing for, and I think that comes across in a lot of his stuff. A lot of the kills in this movie are like oh shit moments, especially towards the end. There's a scene where he sneaks into a woman's room, and I did not see that scene coming. It got a huge pop for me when I saw it. I mean, this whole movie, the first person perspective, the ending, how it's pretty much the same ending, but with just that little twist on it, and it's executed really well. A lot of the effects in this movie are amazing. And yeah, I don't see any other remake topping this one for me. It's just a personal favorite. It took an okay movie with a cult following and made an amazing remake out of it. And I hear a lot of people talk about this and how much they like it, but I still feel like it's underrated. It's not talked about enough because, in my opinion, it's one of the best modern remakes ever. But yeah, that's my list. Let me know in the comments if yours is any different. I can see it being, because a lot of people like a lot of things I just have a problem with out of principalities. That's just the way I am. But yeah, let me know. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And until next time.